So, Stephen D here on Pure 24/7 Radio, and I am joined today by Liza Hartley from Four Kingdoms Cause. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you. Yeah, despite the rain, it's all good. I'm sat here with a coffee and I'm in the warm, so it's all good.
All good. Got coffee. I have a
Yes.
I have a mint tea with me.
Oh, very
Um,
nice. Good
yep.
choice.
Yes. So, do you want us to tell us a little bit about how you first got into music? Should we start there?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been into music for as long as I can remember, to be honest. I think the earliest sort of memory I have is living at home. My mum and dad had this drawer in the living room, and it just had a few CDs in. You know, it wasn't like today where music was just everywhere. We had these few CDs, and one of them was Bruce Springsteen, and so that was the heaviest sort of music that was available to me. And I just remember headbanging to that and singing really loud, and uh, I always loved that sort of music. Uh, I was always singing along to Disney films, that sort of thing. You couldn't stop me singing. And then when I really got into music was more when I was a teenager. So I was then, old enough to like go out and seek music myself. So I grew up as a teenager, the sort of early 2000 era. So that was very sort of Kerrang TV. I was listening to Linkin Park, Papa Roach, Incubus, Alien Ant Farm, all of that sort of stuff. And I just remember thinking, gosh, yeah, like this music, I feel it. Like, I feel like I'm heard. It gets me. So I was very much in that sort of scene. So that's where it all began, really. And it sort of just as established on from there.
Yeah, I've heard that during the teen years, that's when music is most influential, and those are the
Hmm.
songs we'll take with us for the rest of our lives. So you mentioned Linkin Park and Papa
Yeah,
Roach and other bands like that. Yeah, we like playing those songs here on Pure 24/7 Radio. Some great bands out there.
yeah.
And so how did you get into like playing music, that kind of thing?
So when I was a teenager, obviously loving all this music and listening to it, at school, I started a band with some friends. So we started playing in a friend's garage and we'd play every week. And we played original songs. We started gigging around all the pubs and places. But obviously back then there was no social media or anything. So we'd literally like print posters and go like stick them around town and hand out these really dodgy like demos and say, please, can you let our band play? So yeah, that was sort of the age of 16 to 17 that I was doing that. Um, I never actually wrote any of the songs. I was the singer, uh, but loved it. But obviously back then I didn't have much confidence in myself. So I would literally stand there and just sing the words like this, not with a lot of sort of feeling. Um, then after that sort of fizzled out, I I didn't sing for years, like years and years and years. I got just sort of sidetracked with, family life, buying a house, getting married, having kids, all wonderful things. But I just didn't really see how singing and music was so important anymore. I just thought, that was when I was younger. I'm grown up now, and I don't do that sort of thing anymore. And then I just sort of had this feeling one day, I sort of realized how I was getting older. And I thought, oh, but I do still really love music and I really do still love singing. Um, and that was when I became a Christian in 2019. So I should have said this at the start. I didn't grow up in a Christian household. It's only fairly recently that I've become a Christian. And part of that just got me back into singing again. It was my daughter as well. So she loves to sing, and just hearing her sing made me think, yeah, maybe I still should pursue this. So, I thought, right, great. Let's start an originals rock band. Sorry, not original, a covers rock band. So gathered some friends together, and we started doing covers of all those songs, that I loved growing up. That lasted for a while. Short story, drummer left, and then we didn't really replace him. And then I really felt God call me to start an originals band, because I think I really started to notice at this point that some of the music that I was listening to and some of the lyrics just didn't sit right with me anymore. I understood more about the power of words, and it just didn't sit right. I was sort of very convicted of what I was doing. So I wanted to bring the heaviness that I loved, but I also wanted to bring like my faith into it. So I started an originals band, and I'd never written a song in my life. But I just knew I had it in me somehow. I just had this deep sense of just knowing that I had songs there. So yeah, the band got together really quickly. The songs started flowing. So they would write the music, I would listen, and I would write the vocals and melodies, and we would do it that way. Did a few gigs and things, and then I ended up drifting without even realizing it, away from God. And it was a really slow, real gradual process. And it kind of became more about worldly things than like the reason that I started in the first place was to, share the gift that I have, for other people, to bring them closer to God. And it started that way. And the songs, I really still feel now that God gave me those songs. Like they're not my songs. And yeah, I just knew I drifted. And one day it was quite, savage that just God came in and he just pulled me out of the situation I was in quite dramatically. It was like a real sort of cut off moment. Just pulled me out. And yeah, I should probably stop there just to see if you want to ask any other questions, because I've kind of gone right off on one.
No, that's absolutely good. This is the story. This is how the music came about, and I absolutely love that. Love hearing how it comes about. So, you maybe drifted a little bit, and how did you get back on track?
Well, like I said, there was one evening where I won't go into all the details, but God literally just something happened where I just had to cut the band off. I had to cut some relationships off. And in that moment, I just didn't understand really what God was doing, because whilst I knew that I drifted and I had to go back, I had to turn away from certain things and back towards God. I was like, but God, like, what was all this for? Like, what were all these songs for that you gave me? This is my purpose. I love to sing, and I felt like I couldn't sing again. And it was really tricky because they would write the music as well, and I would write the lyrics. So after that, I didn't play an instrument. So I felt like, how can I write songs anymore? I felt really sort of aggrieved in that moment. And I didn't understand. It was a really, really hard time to work through. And I did have a moment where, literally the day after it all sort of kicked off, we'd had tickets, me and my husband, to go and see Carrie Jove and Cody Carnes at Bath Forum. We were going to go see them. And I walked in and literally, like the floodgates, I just cried the whole time. And I'm pretty sure it was the first song they played was Forever. And it was like a full circle moment, because that was the first worship song I ever heard. And it just felt like a sort of coming home moment. And I just felt so loved and welcomed back. So that was an awesome moment. And then it was just, I think it was like a long period of just being corrected and gently refined, and everything just had to be stripped back. Like everything just got taken right back to the bare bones. And then God's just been building me back, and really showing me who I am through all of this. And then I think it was it's February time. I ended up going on a worship weekend. Um, Actually, before I say that, I'm just going to add in that through all of this, through becoming a Christian, I was exposed to a whole new sort of collection of music and songs that I'd never heard before. And I was like, whoa, like, where has this been? Like, this is really cool. Like, this makes you feel great. Like, it's so much more positive and uplifting, like, brilliant. But through that process, I think I really missed the heaviness. And I almost felt like, because I was a Christian now, I needed to fit the stereotypical Christian mold. I needed to sing these sort of songs. I needed to act a certain way. And so I joined the worship team, and I've been doing that. But there was something in me that was like, no, you're pushing down part of who you are. Like, whilst worship music in that style is not bad, it's not truly like your fullest expression. It's not what you love. That's not who you were like made to be deep down. So I really missed that heavy element through it. And I think I became a little bit just resentful, really. I was like, why do I have to sing this way? Why do I have to sing these songs? You know? So I kind of rebelled a bit during that period as well, I think. And I was like, no, I'm gonna sing it like this. So I think that didn't really help with, my drifting.
Right. So what were some of the bands that you came across, some of the heavier Christian bands then?
Well, to be honest, I didn't really find those early on at all. It's only just been recently that I've started to really look. So I didn't really have any sort of heavy Christian references at the beginning. I was just sort of heard all the, really floaty, samey sort of stuff. And I feel bad saying it, but I just felt it was just quite boring to me, a lot of it. And I just thought, well, I'm not like that. Am I not a good Christian? You know what I mean? Am I wrong for liking all this other stuff? So it's been a real process of sort of separating the situation I was in from the songs that I wrote, from the music I liked, and really sort of going, okay, not all of it was bad. But it took me a real long time to work through that.
Yeah. So what's the heart and passion behind the name for the band that you now have? What's the story for that?
Well, because I didn't have a band anymore and it was just me, I went to this worship weekend. That's where we backtracked. So I went to this worship weekend, and whilst I was at that weekend, we did like a sort of songwriting session, and the lady there just started playing like a chord sequence on the piano, and we opened our Bibles and we were just to sort of sing out some scripture, just sort of there and then, see what came out. And I remember doing that and thinking, oh, this feels quite sort of natural to me, like it came out quite well. And I thought, and I went home, and 2 days later, just God gave me a song. So it'd obviously been a long time since all of this happened, and I didn't want to sing again and all this stuff. And then God gave me a song, and I just knew that I had to record it and release it. I'd always wanted to do that, and we were very close to doing that in the other band. So that was something else. I was like, oh, I really wanted to do that, God. So I eventually got to do that, and that's when Renovation sort of came about. So I had actually got a piano for Christmas. So I'd literally picked the piano up for a couple months. So I knew some basic like chords and things. So I ended up writing Renovation just on the piano, first and foremost. And then I recorded a real rough demo, took it to the producer and said, look, I really want to record this. What can you do with this? And what I heard in my head is like, I could hear this full song. I knew what it was going to sound like before it was even finished. And so he did a really great job. And that's where Renovation came from. So it's kind of like, it's the story of, wow, just the journey I took. Like the words of how did I get here at the beginning? It was like that moment. I was like, oh, this is not good. I have drifted. How did I get from here with all these good intentions to I'm over here now. So it's that it's a song about God coming in and really tearing down all the not so great things that I had going on in my life, and leaving some of the good stuff there, and, you know, building new things in my life that I can never even imagine that were way better. But it's just, in that moment, I just did not understand what was going on. So it's a song about sort of realizing in hindsight what God was doing at the time.
So it's quite a journey. You grew up not a Christian household. You enjoyed heavier music and mentioned Bruce Springsteen, and then you go on to enjoy Linkin Park and other bands like that. And then you came to Christ at 19, and you talk of drifting away and coming back and getting into music. And then you write this song, which kind of is the story of you drifting away, which is really cool. We're going to play that later on. But how did the name for this band come? So, Four Kingdoms Cause. What's the story?
Yeah, so I was in church one day, and I was going to release under the name Liza Hartley just because it was just me. But then, I was in church, and just the name just came to me. Just, okay, you should call it this. It was as simple as that.
Oh, right, yeah.
And I thought, okay, God, I don't understand. You know, it's just me. I don't have a band anymore. But you should call it this. And so I did.
I like that. It just simply came to you.
Yeah.
Some people have, long stories where they get the dictionary out, they get the thesaurus, they're trying to come up with the right name, the perfect name. It just came to you in church.
It just came to me in church, and I thought, okay, I'm going to be obedient. Cool. That's the story.
Nice and simple. I like that. So, Four Kingdoms Cause, you've got your debut single, Renovation, which kind of tells the story of you maybe drifting away and then coming back. And that's really cool. So you mentioned some of the bands that you enjoyed growing up. What's some of the bands that you might listen to now that might inspire the music that you're writing?
I really enjoy some of Skillet's stuff.
Yeah.
I'm really liking the band Jaron at the moment.
Okay.
I don't know if you've heard them. They're like a girl band, Christian band, and they've got like a heaviness to them that I really like. So I listen to them quite a lot.
Yeah.
And there's a band called The Natural State as well. I don't think they're like that popular at the moment, but I discovered them on Instagram, and I think they're an American band, and they're great too. I like to see females in rock.
Yeah, that's cool. What about Flyleaf? Have you
yes.
Flyleaf? Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, Lacey's great.
Lacey Sturm,
she inspires me. I love her voice.
Yeah, lots of great female singers in bands, and we like playing a lot of them here on the Rock Show on Pure 24/7 Radio. So that's really cool to hear. Do you mind me asking what's next for you?
Well, next week actually, I am in the studio, so I'm going to be recording some songs, and I won't say too much, but they are some songs that I wrote before I drifted, and I didn't think that they would ever come to light again. So it's quite an awesome moment for me through the work God's done. I just know that the time is right for them now. It wasn't at the time. I needed a renovation first. But so I'm in the studio next week recording, and they should be released at the beginning of next year.
That's very exciting. Very cool. How do people find out more about you? How do they follow what's going on and stuff like that?
Yeah, so I'm on all the sort of usual platforms, Instagram, Facebook. So for all of them, really, it's @For Kingdom's Cause. So you can find me there. That's where most of my updates and things are.
Excellent. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you, hearing about your music, and we will, of course, play your song next.
Excellent. Thank you so much. You have a good rest of your day.
And you too. It's been a pleasure.
Take care.
The November edition of Pure Media, the magazine, will be perfectly formed for you from Friday the 7th of November. We sit down and have a chat with Becca Legg from Restored and delve deeper into the life and work of John Childress from Free Recovery. Pure Media, the magazine, is the magazine to get yourself if you like a comfy coffee and a chat with a friend. Or tea, we won't judge. In our latest magazine, we introduce you to a new writer, Andy Robb, as well as your favourites, including Isla Rouse, Richard Scott, Karen Ferguson, and more. Sign up now so you never miss out on this amazing monthly magazine, handcrafted by real people for real people just like you. Pure Media, the magazine, is always on point and in print. Find out more at www.puremediathemagazine.com.